He had been saving it for himself. The vial rested in his palm like a bird too tired to fly, its glass cloudy, the cork worn smooth by years of careful hands. Fever medicine was not made in this country anymore. What little existed came by rumor and mercy, passed from saddlebag to saddlebag until it reached men already half gone. The child lay on his table, no more than 8, skin hot and dry, breaths shallow as wind over sand. Her mother stood against the wall, bonnet crushed in her fists, eyes fixed on the floor as if looking up might cost her everything. "She won't last the night," the doctor said. His voice did not tremble. It had learned better. He tipped the vial. One measured swallow. The last. Color returned slowly to the child's face. Not health. Just life. Outside, the town kept its distance. They always did when kindness crossed the wrong men. By dusk, the girl lived. By dusk, the doctor's cough deepened, heavy and wet, and he knew the medicine would not be coming back. He lay down alone, facing the door, and waited. They came before the sun. Boots crossed the dirt outside his shack, unhurried, as if the day already belonged to them. A fist struck the door once, not to ask entry, but to announce consequence. When he did not rise, the door came apart in splinters. 3 men stepped in. Clean coats. Calm faces. Men accustomed to being obeyed. The doctor pushed himself upright, lungs burning, breath scraping like rusted iron. He recognized them. Everyone did. They were not outlaws. They were commerce. "You treated the girl," the tallest one said. His voice carried no anger. "That wasn't your place." "She was dying," the doctor answered. "That wasn't the question." They overturned his shelves. Glass broke sharp and final. The lamp was kicked aside, oil spreading across the floorboards. One man crushed the remaining bottles beneath his heel, slow enough to be understood. "She belonged to men who paid," another said. "You interfered with property." The word hung in the room like smoke. They left him alive. That was the warning. By morning, the door lay open, the shack gutted. The doctor sat in the dirt outside, coughing into his sleeve, watching townsfolk pass without meeting his eye. No one asked. No one helped. Only whispers traveled. About wagons that never returned empty. About girls who vanished between towns. About riders in the high desert who answered injustice the old way. The doctor listened. And for the first time, he understood he had chosen a side that could not be unchosen. The fever took hold by afternoon. It settled deep in his chest, heavy and deliberate, as if it had been waiting its turn. Each breath cost more than the last. The doctor lay on his cot, staring at the low beam above him, listening to the town pretend nothing had happened. From the open door, he could hear wagons moving. Not freight. People learned the difference. He had known for years. Everyone had. Girls passed through who never stayed. Children who arrived with one name and left with another. Men with papers signed by lawmen who drank too much and asked too little. It was not one gang. It was a road. A system built to move bodies quietly and coin loudly. He closed his eyes and remembered other nights. Other knocks. A wounded traveler he once turned away because his shelves were thin and his courage thinner. The man had died 2 miles out, alone. The memory had never left him. This time, he had not turned away. At dusk, he dragged himself to the doorway and sat facing the desert. The land stretched wide and indifferent, the way judgment often does. He did not expect rescue. He did not expect mercy. But he knew now why the warnings existed. Why men spoke of desert riders in lowered voices. Some debts were not collected by towns. Some reckonings came from older ground. The doctor waited, breath shortening, as night gathered. They arrived without announcement. No shouting. No thunder of hooves. Just movement where there had been none, shapes separating from the dark as if the desert itself had decided to stand. The first shot came from the stable yard. One sharp crack. Then another. Not hurried. Not wasted. Men ran. Some reached for guns. Some reached for doors that did not open fast enough. The riders moved through the town like a held breath finally released. A wagon burned at the edge of the square, its canvas catching quick, its contents left unspoken. Ledgers were taken from an office where the sheriff kept 2 sets of books. One was fed to the fire. The other vanished into a saddlebag. There was no pursuit. By the time the moon dipped low, the men who bought and sold people were gone. Some fled into the desert. Some did not rise again. No bodies were arranged for lesson or warning. Their absence would speak well enough. The riders did not cheer. They did not linger. They passed the doctor's shack once. One of them slowed, looking in through the broken doorway. He saw the old man seated inside, shoulders shaking with each breath, eyes open and calm. The rider tipped his head. Then they were gone, leaving the town quieter than it had ever been. The doctor died just before morning. The fever eased first. The pain followed. His breathing slowed until it no longer fought him. When the light touched the doorway, he was already still, one hand resting where the vial had once been. No one was with him. By daylight, the town understood what had happened. Not all at once. Understanding came the way it always does, through missing men, silent wagons, and the sheriff's office that did not open again. No notices were posted. No speeches made. Weeks passed. Travelers moved through without fear. Children were no longer locked inside after dark. The road lost its appetite. The doctor was buried beyond the fence, where the ground was poor and the markers were few. No stone carried his name. None was needed. Sometimes, when sickness came, someone would share what little they had instead of counting the cost. Doors opened quicker. Questions were asked sooner. The riders were never seen again. But the land remembered the night it chose a side. And it remembered the man who did too.